Good evening, all. We shall start in 2 minutes. Ma'am, can you share your screen?
Yes, sir.
We'll wait for 1 more minute and then we can start. The front page. One. Yeah. Good evening, all. I'm very happy to welcome you to the day 4. Day 3 of the MC's Research Collective series on digital humanities. Today we have with us Professor M. Ramla, who is going to talk about digital archives and big data in literary studies. We have been talking about a lot in digital humanities, different aspects and different dimensions of digital humanities. In this context, today we have the speaker, Professor M. Ramla is an accomplished assistant professor with nearly 2 decades of teaching experience in the field of computer applications, holding MCA, MPhil in computer science and pursuing PhD now. Her expertise lies in advanced domains such as healthcare, data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, and natural language processing, and so on. And she has got a lot of experience when it comes to the recent trends like Python, LNTK, SPARSI, and transformer-based architectures, and so on. So today she is going to take us in the world of digital humanities with her expertise, especially in the data analysis, big data analysis, on the title Digital Archives and Big Data in Literary Studies. Without further delay, I would like to hand over the session to Matt. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Vijay Solomon, sir. Hope my audio, video, everything is fine. Perfect. Is it all good? Sure. Is it all good?
Yeah, yes, you can go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much. Very good evening, everyone. I thank Almighty, Metis Christian College, the Research Colloquium, as well as the Department of English for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And this is my maiden speech, probably in MCC, I guess. My name is Ramla. I'm Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science. Meris Christian College. And you all know that this is the third day of the FDP that we have, where we will explore the digital data archives and big data in literary studies. And just to have a recap of what has happened in the previous 2 days, in the day one, Phoebe ma'am would have concentrated much on introducing yourself to the digital humanities world and the ethical dimensions of digital humanities. And in day two, Femina ma'am took you all around by visualizing all the literary narratives via word clouds and line trends and a lot of other graphs. So that was pretty much like from text, we are moving on to kind of a diagrams and numbers. And today, in third day of this FTP, what I'm going to focus on is about the digital archives or the repositories that we have for the literature studies. So when we talk about archives, obviously it is something which is humongous and huge. So the big data logic also comes in inside. So having given a understanding about where we are in a stacked manner, let me go ahead. So I would like to start off with something called why are we here right now? So we know that literature is not just about the books. It's all about a lot of other things apart from the books. We have archives, we have manuscripts, we have digital libraries available, we have even the social media text that is available can be called as a literature. So when we talk about digital humanities, we are actually clubbing up at the intersection of two things, the literature as well as the computational technology. So both of them together is what we call as digital humanities, and that's the talk of the town right now. So it's an interdisciplinary field, obviously. We're going to make use of the computational tools for data visualization, mapping, as well as analysis of the text. And we'll also never forget the other humanistic disciplines like history, philosophy, and literature, all put together. So with that introduction to what is digital humanities, I have a nice break question. Let's imagine that, let's put ourselves in a scenario that if there is a very rare poem that exists and it's only handwritten and that particular notebook is also damaged, what will happen to that poem? So it's a kind of a lost manuscript problem, right? So let's say if Shakespeare's original manuscript was lost, how would the world usually preserve it? How would the younger generations or the newer generations look into it and do some research on top of it? So this is what we call as the hook, that is the lost manuscript problem. So how do you actually come across or get out of this particular lost manuscript problem? So manuscripts at any point of time may be destroyed by water, fire, insects, time, and everything. So cultural survival is very important. And for that, digitization of all these cultural repositories, treasures is very much important. And that is where the digital humanity, let me call it in short as DH, it is going to preserve the heritage digitally. And to preserve the culture, digital humanities exist. And to do that preservation possibly, we need to do some kind of an engineering and a systematic approach, and that is data engineering. So that's where exactly our topic comes into the scene. Why digital humanities needs big data and data engineering. Hope you have got why in the third day we are looking into this particular topic. Well, let me take my entire session as three parts. In the first part, together we will try to have an exploration towards what is the demarcation between close reading and distance reading. And to demonstrate this, I'll take you to this Ngram viewer, which is from Google, where you can view a single word, which is unigram, two words, which is bigram, three words, which is trigram, and you can keep adding up the numbers. The sequence can be increased. So we'll use an Ngram viewer and try to find out what's the difference between when I read a text differently and how a machine reads a text differently. With that, you will really understand it and you will admit to that with the support of the AI or with the support of this computational tool, you will be able to work wonders. So that will be the first part. Let us get into it. So what is this close reading is all about is we are going to focus on the deep, detailed analysis, but we take only a small portion of the text. As a human, this is a traditional literary method that we usually do. We take the text, we understand the language, the style, the tone, the symbolism, and the meaning of it. We try to analyze it in a single poem or maybe on a single chapter. So we'll have a very nuanced understanding of the content and rich interpretation comes out from the human. But The same thing, if it is scaling up, we will not be able to process the large volume of text. So that is where the close reading has some kind of a problem. Here comes the computational intersection, that is the distant reading. Okay, where we analyze large collection of text using computational tools. So something which is hidden within the text, which we cannot uncover, can be uncovered using these tools. Patterns, trends, frequency counts, structures, the network or the semantics between two characters. So everything can be looked for. It can be represented in the form of a visualization using some algorithms and mining algorithms. Okay, so that is what we call as distant reading. So we don't do it, the computational tools does it for us, but we need to sit over there and find out whatever the interpretation the mission does, is it right? If it is right, why it went wrong, what did it miss, what it can really better uncover. So this is where you have to sit and explore here. So the strength of distant reading is that you can handle the big data, reveal the patterns which is hidden over there, but the limitation is less depth. So the in-depth analysis can be got only when the human intervention is over there. So now this is part one. Let me take you to the Google Ngram Viewer. I don't know if you have already done it, but still, this is a kind of a guided exploration. So if you have a laptop with you, you can just get into that particular tool and keep exploring stuff. So here I'm taking you to the Google Books Ngram Viewer. So the corpus that we are using here is, there's something called corpus and corpora when it comes to linguistics. Corpus is the collection of text, and corpora is multiple collection of the text. We call it as corpora. Kind of singular and plural, we can have it that way. So here, it's a Google book, and so right from the year 1800 up to 2020, you can find there is a vast collection of text materials within this Google Books, and you can use this Ngram viewer. So let me tell you, Ngram, where N stands for the number, and gram is nothing but a sequence of words. Okay, so you can go for a unigram word, bigram word, trigram word, or any n-gram words can be given. So once you give the words, then accordingly you can find out what is the frequency of the word in the years starting from 1800 to 2020. So this is a kind of thing which we cannot immediately do. We are versatile. We are not versatile enough to do it as early as possible, like what a mission does, because mission looks into the text not as a text, but as a number, but as a vector. But we obviously look into it as a text. So there lies the difference between the mission reading as well as the human reading. So this is one of the wonderful tool that you can make use of. You can keep exploring by giving in a lot of other keywords, phrases, authors, themes, meta informations, whatever you want, you can try to give and you can analyze how it goes up. Okay. So this tool is can be used by the researchers if you wanted to at the early stage to find out how is the trend across several ages in the Google eBooks. All right. So let me get back to the slide. So now that with this tool, you should have clearly understand that there is a clear demarcation between close reading and distant reading. So distant reading is something that is very scalable across a large corpora or corpus of data set, which the human will not be able to do. But the in-depth analysis comes only from the human. All right. So with that understanding, let me take you to the part two, wherein the logic of big data comes into. So now that you should have understood that Google eBook is a very comprehensive repository, starting from the year 1800 up to 2020, we have all books, collection of around 25 million books are over there. Okay, so obviously it's humongous. A traditional computing capability will not be able to handle it. So we need something special, something extra in order to work with such kind of a data. So there comes the paradigm of big data. So these repositories are the cultural repositories. They are like treasures for us, and they are all digitized, and they are all going to help the future generations for doing the work. So we will never miss the beat. We'll never miss any cultural archives that we have as not being found. Okay, so we'll also look into popular cultural archives and then some computational tools to work with these archives. So this will be the part two. So it's pretty much like tool oriented stuff. We'll go for some 3 to 4 tools demo. So let me first define what this big data is all about. So the data is so big and massive It's unprecedented. The volume is humongous. There is a pretty much different variety of data that we have, not just the text. We have audios, videos, images. Data can be in any format. So that's variety. And we'll also talk about the speed at which the data is getting generated, especially during this era where we live in a social media age. So the velocity of the data that is generated is also huge. And the last one is the veracity, the trustworthiness of the data. Is it from a reliable source? So these four V's are the characteristics of a big data. When you take up a data and if the volume is high, if the variety is different, the velocity is also huge, and the veracity is bringing some value to your business, but at the same time, from the trusted source, that's what we call as veracity. So, but this not 4V, still they are keeping on increasing it as per the requirement. We have 9Vs, 7Vs, and a lot of other things. Okay, that's in general. Now, talking in terms of the digital humanities, big data, the millions of books that we have can be called as a big data. The millions of newspaper pages that we have can be called as a big data. The cultural collections that we have, a lot of repositories will be talking out or unfolding in the next few slides. So all these are what we call as big data. So obviously the logic of big data is over there, but what are the different varieties and the sources of data we have? Talking about the textual data, we can talk about novels, poetries, scripts, letters written. All these comes under textual data. And there might be paintings and manuscripts with photos comes under digital data. Even the oratory things, speeches, folk songs, the dialects, the mantras that is chanted, all these things can be part of the audio data. We also have the social media data that comes from the tweets, hashtags, and political discourses. So all these are sources of big data, not just data, big data. Now, having defined what is the big data, now, where do we put all these? They call this cultural archives, a very specialized repository. So this is the starting point for your research, right? So you're going to do a research on something. All that we need is the data. So where do you get the data? From a repository. So cultural archives are specialized repositories, which is going to collect, preserve, and provide access to the records. It's something that is documenting everything, the collective memory, the heritages, the tradition, arts of both world as well as India. So that's what we call as cultural archives. So once you have an access, a public access to this cultural archive, I'm talking from the point of view of the students, they could indulge themselves in a lot of projects like they can visualize the maps. Okay, so they got historic data, like they can take up two cities and how they have changed over time. So that kind of a project can be done, or they can apply some machine learning algorithms on top of the text data and find out some analysis, maybe what's the thematic shift post-colonial and after that. So such kind of a thing can be done. What's the usage of the, where, how is the usage of the vocabulary differing before and after? So all these thematic shifts can be analyzed, and that's text analysis. And the most advanced one is like they can go for, because we have geospatial data as well for the archaeological sites, they can do virtual reality or a 3D modeling. So these are some, so recreating the artifacts. So these are some of the projects that the students could undertake once they find out a perfect repo or a cultural archive that they need. So that is cultural archive. So what do we have right now for digital humanity people? There are a lot of data archives that is available. Let us first talk about the most oldest digital library called as the Project Gutenberg. So Gutenberg, which was founded in 1971, it's free ebooks. It's available for the public domain. It contains, even right now, if you can open up a tab, Google Project Gutenberg, you'll be taken to a page where you find the repository. Okay, so here all classical literatures of all authors will be available, and the text is available both in a plain text or in a Kindle format, or it can even be downloaded as a EPUB file. So it's fully open source and it's easy to download. You can go explore all the works that is available over there. Imagine the amount of mammoth tasks they might have done in order to bring this repository. So this repository can be used in the context of digital humanities for text analysis, doing NLP kind of an experiments, and even in the to make the classroom teaching experience in a different manner, you can use these uh, repositories, take data from there, take it to the tools like Voyant and Ngram viewers, and make the teaching experience and the academic experience in a very different manner. So I know that English is always English literature. When I talk about it, it's always interesting subject. So to make it much more interesting, why not visualize stuff? Why not talk in terms of pattern recognition and things? So that's how the academic experience can be improved when we bring in digital humanities inside. Okay, so pretty much Femina ma'am would have explained a lot about this Voyant tool where you just copy paste the text or you upload some PDF that you have, and then you can analyze it. What's the word cloud? Which word is appearing most? Which has got the highest frequency? What is the trend line of the words? What is the concatenation of the words? What is the collocation of the words? Concordance between the words? All these things are pretty much displayed on the dashboard of the Voyant tool. So anyways, we will now get into this Gutenberg project and have a look into it because it's a digital archive or a repository that is pretty much needed. And then we'll take up a text from there, put it into the Voyant and find out how it analyzes it. I just go for a demo. Cool. We did Google Ngram Viewer. Yeah. So this is Project Gutenberg. So if you want to know more about how it started, how this project started, how they collected this many of 75,000 free ebooks available over here, along with the metadata information, all history is available here. You can read it out. And if you keep searching for, there's a quick search bar over here where you can search for whatever novels or whatever author you are interested in. So you can just quickly search and get to the different types of formats. So I told you, you have Kindle format, you have plain text format, which is in UTF-8 encoding, and you can also use EPUBs. So you can download it from here, and this particular text can be copy pasted into Voyant. So this Voyant is a tool that was explained in depth yesterday. So the same thing happens over here. Put in your content, and this side gives you the siders, which is the word cloud. The bigger the word, the font size, meaning the word appears much more in the text. And we can also find out what are the words and what's the trend line for each of these words over here. And down in the bottom right corner, you can find out the collocations. So if the participants are listening, can I just ask a question? What is collocation? Because I know that most of them are English department. Can I have an example for collocations? Because I'm from computer science domain, but still out of inquisitive nature, I tried understanding what is this collocation and what is concordance and stuff. So collocation is where you bring in words that is habitually coming together, like deep sleep. Usually we say deep sleep, heavy rain. So that kind of a words is what we call as collocation. So such words can also be analyzed using these tools. So in the this corner, you can find that all the statistics, the descriptive statistics about the data. What is the vocabulary density? What is the reliability index? What's the average words per sentence? So such kind of descriptive or statistical information is also available for us. All in just 1 minute, no mess, no setup. You just copy paste, things comes for you as early as possible. So that's the purpose of Voyant tool. And using the Voyant tool and taking up text from the Project Gutenberg, you can do some kind of an analytics to begin with. So getting back to the presentation. So is Project Gutenberg the only archive? No, there are a lot of other popular archives available. So the next one that we'll talk about is the Happy Trust. So this is yet another large digital library, which was created by universities as well as research institutions. So we have millions of digitized books over here, journals and academic materials over here. And here again, it is fully accessible for the public domain. And there are few things which is copyrighted with limited access. And you can use it for creating your corpus for your research purpose, especially when you are a person who is going to work with text mining or text analysis. All that you need is a corpus. So this corpus can be created from such kind of a repository. So if you are in the system, I wish you guys get into this happytrust.org and deep dive, explore what are the things available here. All right. So again, there is a search bar over here. You can search for anything. You can search for Sangam literature. Try finding out if Sangam literature is part of Hathi Trust. So yeah, we have a lot of full view available, which you can download and you can make use of. And this is like a library, but it's a digital library. But in a normal library, we have all shelves and the shelves will have the books arranged. Same like if there is no shelf in a library, it will be very difficult for us to locate the particular book. Same like we have something called as metadata over here. So by the word metadata, we mean that it is the data about the data. So for each and everything, we will have some kind of a descriptor to talk or describe more about this data. Let's say who is the author, what was the year of publication. So such kind of descriptive informations will be there. So author information, publication year, who is the publisher, such kind of descriptive information will be there. And you'll also have some kind of chronological or hierarchical information is what chapter has how many sections have how many paragraphs. So that's kind of another thing. And the third thing is you can also have information related to the administrative aspects, like whether it is copyrighted, if so, what is the thing, all those things comes into it. Okay, so metadata is the data about the data. It is something really very essential if you wanted to locate an information in the digital archives. Okay, so using the metadata, you can try to extract information from the large repository of data. So this is Hathi Trust. So you have now two big digital archives with you where you can go and explore whatever you want. So the next thing, when it comes to Indian collection of books, then we have this metadata repository again. I call it as a metadata repository because it has the digital scans of the books or whatever. Along with that, we also have the metadata information of them. So you can see that if there is a book and the book is getting worn out, the pages are getting worn out, we can scan all those books and all these scanned images can be put together and it becomes digitized. Now, nobody could destroy it. It would be available for the next generation of people to do their research. So for Indian books, we have a huge collection for that, and that is National Digital Library of India. And we have multilingual text over here. Both the scanned information as well as the metadata for that is also available. So this is the URL. You can just have a look into it if I'm sharing my PPT with you all. Or you can just Google NDLI, you will get into the Digital Humanities Archive. Next, very important data archive that we have is the Baichitra Tagore project. It is completely for the Rabindranath Tagore's works. Okay, so all complete works of Rabindranath Tagore, manuscripts, everything in terms of versions, scholarly editions is available in this Baichitra project. So if you're someone who is addicted to Rabindranath Tagore's work, you can go fetch information from this particular archive. So it's both available in Bengali as well as in English. Well, so we talked about some archives, popular archives, the huge archives that we have. Now, with this archive, what am I supposed to do? What should come inside is the computational tools. So we not all are well versed in coding. We are non-programmers. There are people in different disciplines who wanted to work with it. But the domain expertise will come from you and the world of code and algorithms will come from us. So we are in the intersection of both the disciplines together, and that's why it's interdisciplinary. And again, I'm telling you, coding is something which has become a vibe coding right now with the advent and the introduction of AI and everything. Nobody cares about coding right now. It's all about prompting. So whatever you want, if you're clear with your problem statement, if you give the problem statement and ask it for the code is generated. You can just copy paste the code and run it. So gone are the days where we go look for someone to write the code for us in order to explore stuff. So that's the age we are in right now. So everybody could divulge or indulge themselves in such kind of things. So why? And I'm not going back to it again because it was explored in depth. So the second tool for today that we'll focus is Recogito recognition. So that is Recogito. So it's again a free web-based tool. Just Google it, Recogito. So what's the speciality of this tool is you can annotate the text. Okay, so let's say there is a very big text or a corpus before us, and you wanted to give stress or importance to some words or vocabularies in the particular text and annotate it. So, like for example, NCC is a very good institution. So, NCC is the name of the organization. NCC is located in East Tamram. So, we say East Tamram is the location, it's a geolocation. NCC was started in the year, so the year factor comes there. So, that is the year. So, each and every word can be tagged, it can be annotated so that we have a grouping of words. Okay, so when you look into a very big text, we have named entity being recognized everywhere and annotated everywhere. This doesn't apply for literary corpus alone. It applies almost to any text. Even if you're mail, if you write a mail content, you can have organization, person name, time, year. Even if it's a discharge summary from hospital, you will find out something called as disease, diagnosis, drugs, and something like that being tagged. So that makes it easier for us to understand the text data. Okay, so such kind of annotations can be done using this tool, and the name of the tool is Recogito. Let's have a look into it. Yeah, here you go. So for the sake of time constraint, what I've done is I've already copy pasted a text over here. Just sign in. All that is required is a sign in. Just sign in with a username and a password. Copy paste your document over here. Okay. So then you can quickly pick up places, persons, and you can also add additional tags. So this is a kind of an annotation. So you can see that out of this text, there are certain texts which is being tagged like this. So Elizabeth, what is it? Person. So Elizabeth is the name of a person. So you're marking it as a person. So this is called tagging, annotation in technical terms. And then it's called named entity recognition. Okay. So London, you can say that it's a place. And if you just wanted to locate it in the map, there will be a locator also over there. See how easy it is for us to take up a corpus, name the entities over there. So what's the purpose of naming the entities is that we can further analyze it by having a relationship extraction between these entities. Which character is talking about which character? Okay, so such kind of relationship extraction can also be done once you do the named entity recognition. So this tool helps you just by a drag and a drop will be done. So try using this tool. So you can see here, Rome is again considered to be a tag to be a place. Let's say there is a year over here. Just click onto it, say that it is a year. You can add a tag. You can add a tag, say that it is a year, and click on OK. Okay, so this is the purpose of Recognito tool. You can have download option as well. The thing is like you need to sign in, then you'll be able to download it. So now here is where something important comes in. So you have annotated your document. You took a corpus, you pasted it over there, you annotated it, you understood what is the named entity for each and everything. And now you can download the annotation as simple as that. There are different formats in which you can download the annotations. The first one is the CSV, which is the comma separated values format. So you can just download, have a look into it. See, so the file name, the transcripts, then what entity it is that, what is the vocab label for it. If it's a geospatial information, what is the latitude, longitude of it? So a lot of other informations are coming in. Okay. So annotation is as simple as that. So if you take up a very huge corpus also, annotation becomes simpler. You can just download it as a CSV file. So I told you there are several other formats as well apart from CSV. You can get it if it's a geo information. You can get it as a GeoJSON. JSON is JavaScript object notation. I'll tell you how different is CSV, JSON, XML, and TEI. So as of now, get to know that there are 4 different formats that we have. One is CSV, another one is JSON, GeoJSON, TEI. That is one of the digital humanities standards, I would say. So TEI is text encoding initiative, and it has got a different format and a standard just like XML. I'll let you know that. So these are some of the formats which you can download. So I hope this tool will help you for doing annotation, and the Voyant tool will help you do the visualization. And this tool, which is called as Recogito, will help you in doing the annotation. Getting back to the slide, we need to talk about the formats because we have different formats for your data. So CSV, as told, it is comma separated value files. So things will be in the form of a table. You can open it up in a Google. Every data will be delineated by means of a comma. So as simple as that, it is easier. The second format is the JSON format. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So the format is again similar to that of the CSV, but you can see that there is a curly brace over here with a key value pair. So keys, the column headers becomes the keys, the value becomes the value. So we have a KV pair. So key and a value, comma, the next key and a value, comma, the next key and the value. So the data is organized in some way. The meta information is organized in some way. So that is the JSON format. And JSON format is the most widely used format when it comes to APIs. And if you're doing NLP projects, web applications, JSON is the most standard format. But the user-friendly format, what we talk about is the CSV. Then comes XML. So you might have heard about HTML. XML is again a hierarchical way of storing your data. When you structure your data in the form of an XML, exchange of data between systems, the interoperability will be easier. So just like HTML tags, I don't know how many of you know HTML, but it's just marking up your data. You're marking up. You're saying that daffodils is the title, and William Wordsworth is the author in the year 1807. So poem, title, author, year, all forms a hierarchy. Okay, so we are setting up a hierarchy. Anyways, I'm storing the details about Daffodil's poem, its author, and the year of it. So that's a standard format for storing the data using tags of this kind. I call this as tags because it's all enclosed within a less than greater than symbol. So this kind of a format is also downloadable. It is usable, especially when data has to be exchanged between different web pages and systems. Okay. And I told you that TEI is a very special format, especially when you're doing digital humanities project. TEI is a widely adopted format. So TEI stands for Text Encoding Initiative. So what is it? It's like an XML standard, but it has got something much more than that. A lot of configurations of that. Interoperability is also ensured. I'll show you. This is the configuration. We start with a header that is saying that this is the descriptive metadata about my file. This is my file. It's a digitized file. And what is the metadata information goes over here. So the information about the file gets into the file description. We start with the title and we then get into the source description from where this particular digital text was derived. So the source description, then comes your text, the main body of your document, then the main body of your document. If there are subdivisions in your text, then we have the div tag. And if there are paragraphs inside the division, we have the p tag. So this is the way the content is being organized in a TEI format. So why do we have to talk about all these formats is that You will find out a repository where your corpus will be available. From there, you will take things, you do analysis, and you extract the metadata information of that. So when you download the metadata, it might be of this particular format, maybe in a CSV or a JSON or a TEI format. So that's what we are just giving you an overview of this different formats. So this is how it looks like. You can see that we can even go in depth and store what is the line group it is, whether it is a stanza or what. So LG stands for line group. So the line group type is stanza. A stanza is starting, and it's the poem from Daffodil. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. So each comes in another line. So line group is a collection of lines. L is line, L is the next line. Both of them together is the line group. See, the way the corpus that you get is being formatted in a hierarchical manner like this. So that's TEI. So we talked about two tools. One is the YN tool. The next one is the Recogito tools for annotation. Now, let me take you to the third tool, which is called Palladio. So Palladio is like, you cannot just copy paste the text over there. It is for relationship extraction. Okay. So we need to prepare a CSV or a Excel file before we do this analysis, because it is relationship extraction. So prepare your CSV and then upload your CSV over there. There are two things that you need to set. One is the source, and the one is the target. So character, how the character is interacting with what character. So if you wanted to establish that kind of a network graph, then you have to set the source, you have to set the target. Once you set the source and the target, you will get your network graph of relationship. Okay, so as a demonstration, let's get into the Palladio. So this is how it looks like. So from the data, you're just going to import the data. I have the data ready with me like this. Okay, the data is ready with me like this. Then I get to the tool, upload the data, go to the graph tab, click here, the hamburger menu, choose your source. There are 4 columns. I'll choose character as my source. I choose the character interacts with what as my target. So we are establishing relationship between 2 or more columns in your CSV. Okay. Well, I need a highlight, show the links, and increase the size of the notes. So you could see that you get the graph like this. So how things are connected can also be viewed visually like this. So this is relation extraction. If you are writing a paper, you wanted to make use of this, just download it. You get the SVG file format. You can use it in your inference or whatever that you wanted to write. So this is the third tool that we've been talking about. That is the Palladio tool. So for relationship extraction. Well, so we right now know the importance of digital archives and the popular digital archives that we have. And then what are the different formats of the metadata that you can get? Now, when you take the data, it's not just as easy as that. It's a systematic discipline. We need to apply some engineering approaches over here. So first step is to collect the data. The sources of your data, you can take it from anywhere. It can be a poem, a novel, a play, even a letter that is written, a diary, newspaper archives, even social media text. So that's your data collection. So that's the first step. Second step is this data will be noisy, it will be messy. You need to correct it, you need to sanitize it. So maybe there might be duplications, there might be spelling mistakes, there might be inconsistencies and anomalies. Author names will not be the same. So the dates will be in different formats. So there is no unified approach over there. So all these things we need to fix. So that is called as the biggest one, because garbage in is garbage out. So you need to cleanse everything perfectly well. So that's the second step that you need to do. That's cleansing. Third step is once you have cleansed your data, now organize it in some format. So maybe XML format or a JSON format or any kind of a format, it will be organized. This organized data is now in any of the format. You have prepared your data. Finally, you can do your analysis. So that is the 4 basic steps that you need to do when you're doing data engineering. So I have projected few more metadata archives apart from what we have discussed so far. So please get into all these things and you can know a lot about it. Mm, okay, so since we have another 10 minutes to go, let me see if I can get into this metadata scrapping, because it is for someone who knows programming. We're using Python programming. I'll get back to it if time permits. So let me take you to the third half of the session. So first half, we got the clear demarcation between close reading and distant reading. Second half, we understood what are all the digital repositories available and in what formats they are available and how do I engineer the data. And the third part is what kind of an ethical considerations we'll talk about. Purely, it is going to be a reflection session. I'm not going to give the answers for it. You might think of it and find out what went wrong, what is the solution for this. Okay. So, and a little bit of research directions, because people will dwell into research when it comes to digital humanities. So these are my reflection questions. Starting with, we understood that Google has digitized over 25 million books. So that's the largest literary archive that we have in the human history. None of the universities or governments or scholars have done that. Okay, so now raises a question. Why is it like that? So I maybe towards the end, if someone has got some answers for this, you can reflect your answers. The second thing is, every archive has got an active power. Okay, so what gets preserved, what is getting digitized, what is being left over, they are never neutral decisions. You know something called as endangered, let me take you there. Yeah, this endangered archives program. So EAP. So it's a funding program. It is run in the British server in London. So here we find our Tamil folks and mantras, all these things are being kept over here in their British server. So what does this again mean? Okay, so we have our own Tamil things, the literature and everything being stored on a British server, which is in London. So what does it mean? Again, it's a reflection. Let's answer that. And the third thing that I wanted to say is much of the digital archives are westernized. They're using Western tools. There's something called as Dublin Core Standard, and that's the standard that is being used for the metadata. So the standard will have around some 15 to 18 elements, and all elements have to be filled up. But we cannot say that the Tamil literature will also, Tamil or any other regional language literature will also have the same kind of uh, meta information. We cannot say so. If that is the case, we are forced to fill something over there and it is being stored in a westernized system. Again, this is a kind of a reflection that I expect from people. So I hope you got this considerations that we need to be concerned about. Now, getting into the research aspects of this digital humanities. Okay, now we got the repository, we got to know how the code and stuff works, but then what can I explore from it? So it is unimaginable. You can do whatever you want. These are some interesting research stories that has been already done. In Jane and Aston, they have done a social network analysis to identify the gender roles, emotional arcs, and social hierarchy. So this is some kind of a work for inspiring yourself so that you can do something else later of this same category. So the next one is stylometry, Shakespeare's stylometry. So researchers are using AI to detect what is the dispute between the authorship, where do they collaborate, what is the collaborative pattern over there. So this is again some interesting research direction. Then, of course, political discourse. So when there are political speeches and sentiments, we can analyze the speech for propaganda patterns and all that. So think in diversified in that area, you would come up with something interesting to be unveiled from the data that you have. And in fact, we need not go for such big repositories. If you look into the pandemic, lockdown, social media data, Instagram poems that was written during the year 2020 when we were all in the lockdown, you can try to bring in pandemic emotions. Okay, so this is yet another big data humanities we'll talk about. And if you're involving yourself in big data projects for digital humanities, go for thematic evaluation in English novels, sentiment analysis, especially if you're very much interested in romantic poetry, you can go for sentiment analysis on top of it. And we can have a vocabulary comparison between colonial and post-colonial works, gender representation in mythology text. And I have a code that is being done for sentiment analysis. But it doesn't mean that only computer science people would be able to write the code. It's not like that. Now it's all prompt engineering. Just go and say that this is my archive. This is the work that I wanted to explore. I wanted to specifically work on the romantic poetry. I need to do a sentiment analysis. Please help me do the code generation. The code is there for you. Just take it, run it. You will get the rest is history. You can just understand, analyze, bring your own results and discussions. Then apart from that, I'm recommending a lot of other DH repositories. You can take a look into it. Then, yeah. So if you are for pretty much interested in digital humanities, you're going to take it forward, then these are some of the best practices for you. Clean the file. Okay, no random names. Clean the file. Maintain metadata for every repository that you have. Document your data sources. Always have a README file compact with you so that it helps the other people understand what is being done. Because we, at the end of the day, we are going to push everything to a collaborative environment called GitHub, and versioning, storage, everything is possible. We cannot store everything onto our own laptops and external hard drives alone. At some point of time, we need to access the cloud. So where we push things to GitHub or Google Drive or Dropbox, or you go for Amazon's AWS. So we need to have a version control over there. So that's again a separate topic. So keep your raw data separate, because the raw data, you take it, you do elaborate pre-processing, and it becomes a process data. With that process data is what you're going to do your analysis. So these are some of the best practices that you need to follow. If you are interested, please, this is the roadmap, I would say, the tools that you have to learn. Excel, JSON basics, and then have to work collaboratively with GitHub, and Python for text analysis. Probably in the next upcoming 2 days, they might take you to text analysis stuff using Python. And then OCR tools are required, because Tesseract is from Google. Why OCR is required? Because much of the digital repositories contains information or your books in the form of images, right? So we need, if you wanted to extract information from images, all that we need is OCR. So OCR is optical character recognition. So you will be able to extract the text from an image. So that's why we need this particular tool as well. So these are tools that you can learn next. And to wrap it up, I would say that where do we sit as a literary scholar? Where do we sit is in between, the gap between the pattern as well as its meaning. As I told you, algorithm will implement or interpret something for you, but as a human, you have something else to say. Okay, so the algorithm will find something real that the scholars missed, but the algorithm cannot tell you why it happened, what it meant, and whether it is a matter or not. And that kind of intelligence and sense will come only from the scholars who are sitting there in between this intersection. So I just quickly take another 2 minutes to take you to this code. Since we have seen a lot of no-code tools like Viant and Recogito and Palladio, not everything can be done using the low-code or no-code tools. We need to go for something, kind of a programming is also required. And here we go. So as I told you, there is an engine called OCR engine, which is required. So we need to install that engine. I'm not going to explain line by line, just the crux of it is what I'm going to say. So install the required packages in Python. And this is my JPG file. I'm taking this from Baichitra repository. I have taken the Tagore poem, which is available in the form of a scanned image. So that image, I am taking it, I'm giving it to the Tesseract OCR, and the OCR is going to extract all the text that is available in the image, and I'm going to print the extracted text. So here we go with the output. The image is now converted into text. So this is the first step. If your content is in the form of an image, use some OCR, not especially Tesseract. There are a lot of other OCRs as well. You can try it out and get the text. So once you get the text, what next? You need to do the transformation or pre-processing. That kind of a standardization is pretty much required. So I take this metadata. Okay, so this is my metadata. Imagine this is my metadata. I have the title, the author, the year, the language, genre, and everything over here. So it's a form of a CSV file. So I take this particular data and I'm going to remove extra spaces, strip off all those extra spaces. Okay, and then if there is any inconsistency in the naming in the authors, let's say Robert first, the first letter is not capital, in some places it is like that, so you make it standardized. So inconsistency is removed, lowercase uppercase corrections can be done, standardization of the year in maybe 2-year format or a 4-year format, that can be done. If there are any duplicate rows that is coming up and again, you can delete those duplicate rows because it's redundant, and your cleaned data set is being displayed here. Please do this process before you do any analysis, because else it will be garbage in, garbage out. So once the analysis done, now I wanted to do a kind of a sentiment analysis for my data that I have. So for that, this is my corpus. I took the corpus, I used text blob, and then identify text blob is it another package that we have in Python. So we understand what is the polarity from this particular data corpus. If the polarity is greater than 0, sentiment is positive, less than 0, it's negative. Otherwise, I call it as a neutral sentiment. So I'm going to return back both the polarity and the sentiment, and I'm giving my text over here. It says whether it is positive connotation for us. See, with one simple Python code or collab, I was able to make scraping data, taking data from the repository, cleansing it, and then doing a sentiment analysis on top of it. So that's it. Probably we have another few minutes. Let me wrap it up here. Thank you so much for the patient listening. And if at all you have any questions, you can please put it to the chat. I'm happy to take it. To my level of understanding.
Thank you, Professor Amla. Your session beautifully demonstrated how digital tools like Project Gutenberg, Voyant, and Palladio can transform the way we explore and interpret literature. The clarity with which you explained complex concepts and connected them to practical application in digital humanities has truly enriched our understanding. Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful session. Audience, you can unmute and ask the question directly to the speaker, or you can put it in the chat box too. No participant can unmute and ask.
Yeah, we got one question in the chat box.
Is it possible to access all India office records from the British Library? In the sense, I'm not getting your question clearly, sir. British Library, in the sense, which repository are you talking about?
It is the archives of the British in India, and in fact, these are the records which are kept by the British Library concerning their rule in India since the company time, the British East India Company's rule in India. And are these records available online, or one has to go to England and refer to them?
So it's all about our exploration. If you just hook on to the archive and find out whether you have a public access to that particular thing, you would be able to take it. If there is some concerns or some copyrights over there, it will be limited, restricted access for you. And obviously, we need to maybe be a credentialized user, maybe writing a request to them or a kind of a white paper to them, writing a proposal and getting it done, because I'm a kind of a computer science person. I haven't looked into such kind of a corpus. Work with a lot of healthcare data, but not with the literary data.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Hello, Ramla. This is Kavita here.
Hello.
Thank you so much. It was really interesting. And I feel kind of overwhelmed, like there's so much to learn, so much that we don't know yet. And it seems to be a big field of information that we need to equip ourselves with. Now, as someone who does not know too much of coding or any computer language, I don't know if I'm using the right word, we're good at using AI tools. Now, if you tell me Voyant, we're able to use that. It's simple. Even the Ngram is simple that we can use. But otherwise, do we need to learn Python? Is it mandatory? Should we learn? Should we equip ourselves? Will that be the basis for the future? When you say any tools that are being used, digital humanities and all that, will there be a foundational course or a software which you think everybody should learn to keep up with changes that will come up?
Okay. Fine, ma'am. I would say that Python is for all. Everyone have to, because just like we say AI is for all, Python is for all, because Python is the go-to solution that we have when it comes to data analysis. So being in the non-technical background, it's not that easy to get into the problem-solving aspects. Learning the syntax is fine, but then the logics and have to do the problem solving might be difficult in the initial or the incipient stage. But now, thanks to all the AI code generators, you don't have to be panicking. You just have to give the prompt. So it will be as simple as that. Use the coding agent. Tell them this is what I want. Maybe your prompt can be as big as a page length. It can go that way. Clearly explain what you require. The code is generated for you. So being in your domain, I think your domain expertise is much more important than getting into the technical stuffs of it. As we told, that digital humanities is an interdisciplinary field. So obviously people from different departments will get together. You give your domain expertise. We give our world of code and algorithm. Let it all go together. But on a foundational thing, as you said, if you're pretty much obsessed towards digital humanities and that is your field that you wanted to pick it up, well, studying a new programming language is not a problem at all. You can always go for it. Hope that helps.
Yeah, thanks, Ramla. So if I want to do anything in this field, I need to find a collaborator first. That will be a good way to start and learn.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Any other questions from the audience? So if there is no further questions, once again, I thank Dr. Ramla for the wonderful presentation. On behalf of our MCC, I say thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
So the feedback link is already posted in the chat box. Kindly take a couple of minutes to fill them out. Feedback is mandatory to get the certificates, and we look forward to meet you in the next session on tomorrow. Please join us on 7 p.m. Thank you all. Thank you. The meeting link will be open for two more minutes for filling out the feedback form. Take your time and fill the feedback form. Feedback form is mandatory to get the certificates. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Dr. Bebin, can you make Ashik sir as a host
Sure,
to
sir.
start the? Yeah. You just make him as a host.
I have met, sir.